Welcome all to the Tier 2 finals. We have a standard set of rules. You have your hands visible at all points in time. On the questions, there'll be some element that will be in bold. Those are the key elements that we require. And there's some text that may be italicized in some of the questions. And those are lateral hints that may help you get to the answer. The order for this game is Dinesh, Manu, Ravi, and Shashwat. Good luck, everyone. And Dinesh, your first question of this round. The FIFA Puskás Award is given out to the male or female footballer judged to have scored the most beautiful goal of the calendar year. The inaugural winner in 2009 received it for his long ranger versus Porto, which earned his club a semi-final berth in the UEFA Champions League. Who? We need full name for points.
I'll say Wayne Rooney.
Not Rooney. Manu?
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Cristiano Ronaldo is correct. And Dinesh, your second question. Who became the president-elect of an Asian country after winning the presidential elections held on May 9, 2002, defeating Leni Robredo, the nearest challenger, who represented One Sambayan coalition?
Malaysia? Oh, who became? Sorry, I was thinking of the country. I will say, what's that guy's name? No, sorry, I'm a little spaced out. Pass.
Marcos is acceptable.
That son of
Ferdinand Marcos Jr. or Bong Bong Marcos, but we're accepting Marcos. And Manu, your two questions. First one. The Justice Friends are a group of superheroes who exist in the Dexter's Laboratory universe. Blank Blank is a character from Justice Friends, a parody of Marvel's Black Panther. What is the name of this superhero? He shares his name with a Booker Prize. Go on, Manu.
White Tiger.
White Tiger is correct. And your second question. Which culture hero and trickster in Polynesian mythology does Dwayne Johnson play in Moana? Among other things, he's credited with the creation of the Hawaiian Islands. Ten seconds.
Kahuna.
Not right. Pass this to Shashwat.
Pass.
Dinesh.
Maui.
That is correct. All the multiple viewings of Moana have been answering that question, I guess. And Kiddo, your first question. The British Museum and BBC's radio series, A History of the World in 100 Objects, include several coins and currencies used in ancient times. This gold coin of Croesus was produced in Lydia over 2,500 years ago. Lydia was renowned for its wealth, with most of its gold coming from the electrum in the river Pactolus. What was supposedly responsible for all the gold washing down this river?
Midas.
That is good enough. So Midas washing himself in the river, and hence supposed to have a lot of gold washing down it as well. And Kiddo, your second. In 1801, Italian inventor Pellegrino Turri designed one of the first typing machines to aid his blind friend Countess Carolino Fivizzano in writing letters. What did he also end up inventing? We need a two-word term as a means to deliver ink to his machine. Its usage declined with the advent of computers, but the term still survives in the world of email communication.
Carbon copy.
That is right. Carbon paper or carbon copy either would have been acceptable. So, Shashwat, your two questions. First one. Just 70 days into the 1985 season, she had lost as many matches as she had during the entire 1984 campaign. During a tournament, she kept asking other players if the lights were dim. This led which tennis player to don glasses for the best part of her career?
Billie Jean King.
That's not right. Dinesh?
Martina Navratilova.
That is correct. Not Billie Jean King. This is Martina Navratilova. And Shashwat, your second question. Which shooter with a biblical name combines the following varieties of whiskey? Jim Beam, Jack Daniels, Johnny Walker, and Jameson. Used in equal parts and served in a shot glass. Ten seconds.
The Three Wise Men.
That's not right. Manu? Kiddo?
With the four horsemen of the apocalypse.
The four horsemen is correct. So if you have just a Jim Beam, Jack Daniels, and the Johnny Walker, it's called Three Wise Men. If you add a Jameson, it becomes the four horsemen. Good steal there, kiddo. So that's round one done. Dinesh, round two, your first question. In 1993, which musician made her on-screen debut alongside Tupac Shakur in Poetic Justice, the second film by John Singleton after the success of Boys in the Hood? A year later, she won her first Grammy in the R&B genre for the song "That's the Way Love Goes" from her self-titled fifth album. Ten seconds.
Pass.
3 seconds. Passing to Shashwat.
Pass.
Manu.
Pass.
Kiddo.
Pass.
No one taking a chance on that one. This is Janet Jackson, quite simply.
Oh.
First. And Dinesh, your second question. Known to the French as La Papillon belle dame, it is the most widespread of all butterfly species. Each year, it spreads northwards from the desert fringes of North Africa, the Middle East, and Central Asia, recolonizing mainland Europe and reaching Britain and Ireland. Name this butterfly species. Ten seconds. 3 seconds.
Pass.
Shashwat.
Monarch.
Not monarch. Manu.
Painted lady.
Can you repeat that, Manu?
The painted lady.
The painted lady is correct. La Papillon belle dame. The painted lady. Nicely done, Manu. And Manu, your direct's coming up. First one. 100 Iconic Bollywood Costumes is a 2019 book that chronicles the stories behind the fashion in Hindi films. Which 1966 film, starring Vaijanti Mala as a dancer in the court of Ajatashatru in the 5th century BC, saw her in this dress by Banu Attaya? The designer incorporated motifs from Ajanta caves into the look of this garment.
Amrapali.
That is correct. This is the screenshot from the movie as well. And Manu, your second question. In 2018, Danish Siddiqui captured the impact and activities of which named service in India that was launched in 1991 for inaccessible rural areas where medical services are not available. In this picture, patients from Jalore, Rajasthan wait for their dental checkup. Ten seconds. Three seconds.
The Rajiv train service. Rajiv train.
No. Shashwat.
Pass.
Kiddo.
Lifeline Express.
Lifeline Express is correct. Alternately, we also have accepted Jeevan Rekha, one of those two. Kiddo, your first question of this round. Which Colombian picked up the 2014 FIFA Puskás Award for his goal versus Uruguay in the second round of the FIFA World Cup? He chested the ball down with his back to goal, turned and volleyed an unstoppable effort from 25 meters into the top left-hand corner of the net.
Sanchez.
Not Sanchez, confidently said. Shashwat.
James Rodriguez.
James Rodriguez is correct. And Kiddo, your second. Named due to its resemblance to an ancient Greek architectural feature which resembled a small foot, what form of raised platform referred to a low platform used by public speakers and orchestral conductors in the 18th century CE? It was first used in this form, in the form we know it most popularly today, during the 1930 British Empire Games.
Podium.
Podium is correct. Shashwat, your first. Which 1971 film starring Zinat Aman as a hippie featured this dress designed by the actress herself? The film was set in the background of the rising influence of a religious organization from India. Ten seconds.
Osho.
Not Osho. Dinesh.
Hare Krishna.
Prompt.
Hare Rama, Hare Krishna.
That is correct. Somehow pulled it out. Shashwat, your second question. The gold coin of Abd al-Malik from 696 CE represents a defining point in Islamic history when images of leaders and coins were replaced by text from the Quran. Which caliphate based out of Damascus did Abd al-Malik belong to? It was the second caliphate established after the death of Muhammad. Ten seconds.
Abbasid.
Not Abbasid. Manu.
Umayyad.
Umayyad is correct. That's 2 rounds down. Kiddo has a slight lead over Manu. Dinesh in 3 and Shashwat on 1. And Dinesh, your first question of round 3. Aromatherapy is a holistic treatment that uses essential oils extracted from plants to improve the health of the body, mind, and spirit. The oil extracted from the leaves of which plant, with a scientific name Mentha X piperita, is used widely in aromatherapy as a remedy for pain from headaches and migraine attacks. Its leaves are used to brew herbal tea and to flavor ice cream and candy.
Mint.
Prompt. Need an answer, Dinesh?
Menthol.
No. Shashwat?
Peppermint.
Peppermint is correct. Mentha expiperita. Just peppermint, not mint. And Dinesh, your second. In creating the dragon character Sisu, the creators of Raya and the Last Dragon drew inspiration from dragon mythology specific to Southeast Asia. Which group of divine or semi-divine beings who are half human and half serpent served as the primary inspiration?
I don't know, dragons. The Chinese dragons.
No? Manu?
Pass.
Kiddo?
Pass.
Shashwat?
Pass.
Sure.
Chindits.
Nothing so complicated. Something that's seen in Indian mythology as well.
Kinnara.
This is just Naga of the
Hey.
Nagan. It's basically a interpretation of the Nagas. And Manu, your first question. Following their heroics in the Ashes in late August 2019, Ben Stokes tweeted, "Specsavers, do yourself a favor and give him free glasses for life." Specsavers replied with a confirmation. And so, which England spinner now has a lifetime supply of free spectacles sponsored by them?
Jack Leach.
Jack Leach is correct. Your second question. In 2002, which musician won 3 Grammys, Song of the Year, Best R&B Song, and Best Female R&B Vocal Performance for a debut single that was part of the album Songs in A Minor? Her movie debut, which you see in the visual, came 4 years later as part of an ensemble cast in the 2006 film Smoking Aces. Ten seconds.
K.
Can you repeat that, please?
K.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you clearly, Manu. Can you spell
K.
that out?
K. K-A-Y-E.
Okay. Kiddo? Shashwat?
Pass.
Dinesh?
Pass.
Lilkin.
This is Alicia Keys. I don't know if that is what you tried to say. I don't think so.
That's not what I tried to say.
Okay. That is Alicia Keys, and the songs from A Minor is also because she's a trained pianist. And Kiddo, your 2 questions coming up. First one. Stephen Levitt and Stephen J. Dubner, co-authors of the popular Freakonomics book series, write in detail about a non-profit organization that focuses on cutting operational costs by upskilling local doctors to perform a surgery for correcting certain deformities. Identify the organization or the 2009 Oscar-winning documentary film related to the work it does that it sponsored.
Hmm.
10 seconds.
Shankar Netral.
Not Shankar Netralaya. Shashwat.
Arvind Aiker.
Not Arvind Aiker. Dinesh.
Pass.
Manu.
Smile Train. Smile.
Smile.
Pinky Smile.
Smile Train and Smile Pinky either would have been acceptable. Nice answer. Smile Train being the organization, Smile Pinky being the movie. Kiddo, your second. The big book associated with which worldwide group mentions the hideous 4 horsemen terror, bewilderment, frustration, despair as things commonly encountered by individuals undertaking a sobering journey or experience?
Alcoholics Anonymous.
Alcoholics Anonymous is right. Shashwat, your first question. The first demo of this now universal feature was at the first national conference on television for the hearing impaired in 1971. What is the alliterative two-word term for this feature that HTML5 defines as a transcription or translation of the dialogue, sound effects, relevant musical cues, and other relevant audio information when sound is unavailable or not clearly audible?
Closed captioning.
That is correct. And the second question. Blank is a character from the Justice Friends, a guitar-wielding parody of Marvel's Thor. What is the name of this superhero? The blank is a pun on a rock star's name and incorporates the name of a majestic hall for slain warriors in Norse mythology. 10 seconds. 3 seconds.
Valhalla.
Valhalla is nicely done. This is indeed Valhalla from Van Halen and Valhalla. So that is specifically what we're looking for. Good answer there. So 3 rounds down. And Manu and Kido joined lead at this point of time, but still a long time to go. Let's see what happens. Dinesh, your first question. Used mainly for Christian churches, what form of a raised platform from which a speaker addresses an audience or delivers an oration originates from late Latin for a scaffold for preachers? Ten seconds.
Rostrum.
No. Kido.
Pulpit.
Pulpit is correct. Still there. Dinesh, your second. The gold coin of Kumaragupta I was minted during his reign between 415 to 455 CE to commemorate the completion of which Vedic ritual that proved his imperial sovereignty. The ritual was also performed by Kumaragupta I's grandfather, Samudragupta.
Ashwamedha Yaga.
That is correct. Nicely done. And Manu, your first question of this round. Guinness Book of World Records lists North America's dusky blank as having the shortest migration. During winters, they inhabit mountainous pine forests. Then in spring, they descend a mere 300 meters to deciduous woodlands. What group of birds are they? The word is also used to refer to a trivial complaint or grumble.
Grouse.
Grouse is correct. Yes, second question. What term is used to describe the rule of Ferdinand Marcos Sr. From 1965 until he was deposed in 1986, characterized by widespread personal appropriation of public wealth? It is derived from the Greek words for thief and rule.
Kleptocracy.
Kleptocracy is right. Kido, your first question. Each chapter in Alain de Botton's The Constellations of Philosophy consoles the reader by extensively interpreting a particular philosopher's work. The chapter, Consolation for a Broken Heart, is written through the lens of which German philosopher, known for his 1818 work, The World as Will and Representation. He was among the first Western philosophers to share and affirm significant tenets of Indian philosophy. Schopenhauer is correct. And your second question. In 2017, Danish Siddiqui documented the activities carried out by Devendran P. at the Solar Observatory in which hill station in South India, perched at the crown of the forested Parani Hills? It was established on the recommendation of N.R. Pogson and Lord Kelvin following a famine to better understand monsoon patterns by studying the sun.
Kodaikanal.
That is correct. Got long and hard, but got the right one. And Shashwat, you're first. In 2022, which musician got a debut starring role as FBI agent Foxy Cleopatra in the third movie of a franchise? In the movie, she aids the protagonist hunt down Johan van der Smoot, who you see in the visual, who gets his more popular alias after losing his genitalia in a smelting accident. The debut came 2 years after her first Grammy win for Best R&B Song for Bills, Bills, Bills. Ten seconds. Three seconds. Mean answer, Shashwat.
Beyonce.
Beyonce is correct. What's that? This is from Austin Powers Gold Member, which was a debut movie. And your second question. Analyzing the dip in US crime rate in the 90s compared to the earlier decade, Dubner and Levitt suggest that it is closely correlated with another statistic, as can be evidenced in the difference between states with low and high rates for a particular procedure. They hence present the argument that one of the primary causes for the drop in crime were the actions of which young woman from Dallas, blanked out in red in the visual.
Row.
Row is correct. So the title of the graph is Row and Behold. So the whole premise is that because abortion was legalized, the crime rate dropped. So midway stage, Kiddo has a slight lead over Manu. Lots of time to come back for everyone. And Dinesh, your first question. The chapter Consolation for Frustration in the Consolations of Philosophy is through the lens of which Roman Stoic philosopher and statesman who was forced to take his own life for alleged complicity in the Pisonian conspiracy to assassinate Nero. This incident was subject of a painting by Jacques-Louis David.
Seneca.
That is good enough. Also known as Seneca the Younger. Good answer. And your second question. The blank cut effect is a term that epitomizes the concept of universal design. It states that when one designs for disabilities, they make things better for everyone in the process. Fill in the blank to form the alliterative name of a feature found on roads that helps not just the physically disadvantaged, but everyone. Ten seconds.
Curb, C-U-R-B.
Super answer. This is indeed curb. So this is specifically how it looks like. So that small thing that you see there, which helps wheelchairs use the road easily. So nicely done. And Manu, your first question. The oil extracted from the inner bark and occasionally leaves of which tree native to Sri Lanka, Malabar coast, and Myanmar is used in aromatherapy to reduce the feelings of depression, faintness, and exhaustion. Its bark is used as a spice for a number of savory and sweet dishes across the globe.
Cinnamon.
Cinnamon is right. See the cinnamon bark there in the image as well. And your second question. This coin issued by Lysimachus uses Alexander's portrait to emphasize his position as Alexander's successor. Alexander is depicted sporting the ram's horns of a syncretic hybrid god who was widely worshipped during that period. If one half of this god's name was Zeus, which preeminent god of ancient Egypt, 4 of 5 letters, was the other?
Thoth.
Not Thoth. Dinesh,
Us.
Kiddo.
Amon.
Ammon is correct. Ammon or Amun. We would have also accepted Amun-Ra, although that is not exactly right. Accepted that. Kiddo, your first question. The idea for Pixar's Luca was inspired by local folklores and legends. Which legendary tale that supposedly occurred in the 2nd century CE and first recorded in the 11th century CE is one of the inspirations. This legend is also reflected on the emblem of Genoa, which has claimed arrears from England for one particular aspect of its emblem.
Uh,
10 seconds.
St. George killing the dragon.
That is correct. So apparently the tale is from Genoa, and as per their myth, it was kind of a sea monster who's this dragon. And that was later appropriated by the English, and there is the claim the St. George's cross on the French English flag is what is being talked about. And your second question. Blank is a character from the Justice Prince, a ghostly musical parody of Marvel's Vision. What is the name of this superhero? You can arrive at the name by adding the letter H to the name of a company known for its color matching services. Ten seconds. 3 seconds.
Benetton.
Can you repeat that?
Benetton.
Okay, no. Dinesh?
Phantom.
Phantom is correct. Nicely done. Phantom and tone. You can see the tone symbol in the image as well. Nice steal there, Dinesh. And Shashwat, your first question. Which Argentine playing for Tottenham Hotspur won the 2021 edition of the FIFA Puskás Award? He was honored for his stunning Rabona goal versus Arsenal in the North London derby. Ten seconds. 3 seconds. Need an answer, Shashwat?
Lamela.
Lamela is a nice pull. Is Eric Lamela. Good answer. And Shashwat, your second. What kind of raised platform is placed at the front of a room for speakers or honored guests? It derives from the Latin for disc-shaped object. It can also refer to a smaller platform that supports a throne.
Days.
That is correct. With the root word being discuss. Nicely done. 3 rounds to go. Dinesh, your first question. Dubbed as the hottest burger on the planet, Chunky's 4 Horsemen burger owes its name to 4 fiery ingredients. The three of them are fresh jalapenos, serrano peppers, and habanero hot sauce. Which haunting ingredient cultivated in South Asia is the fourth?
Both Jolokia.
That is correct. Or ghost peppers as it's known, although Booth apparently refers to Bhutan and not ghost, which is wrongly interpreted. And Dinesh is second. Following vision issues, current world number 29, Martin Gould, took to spectacles and his performance has improved since. Later, he tried a large pair, which you see in the visual, inspired by another snooker legend. Which compatriot inspired him? He was the winner of one of the greatest world snooker championships finals against Steve Davis in 1985.
Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Not Ronnie O'Sullivan, Manu.
Dennis Taylor.
Super answer. This is indeed Dennis Taylor. That is how his spectacles used to look. And Manu, your first question. The chapter titled Consolation for Difficulties in the Consolations of Philosophy is through the lens of which philosopher who wrote works such as Thus Spoke Zarathustra and Beyond Good and Evil. He is depicted here in a painting by Edward Munch.
Nietzsche.
That is correct. Your second. The chapter on information asymmetry in Freakonomics deals with which organization and the role of a mole who brought down its member base by revealing its secrets to the public, thereby making it a subject of ridicule. Later, when the authors realized that the mole's role in it was exaggerated, they published a retraction that was aptly titled Hoodwinked, referring not just to them being misled, but also to the organization.
Clan. Ku Klux Klan.
That is correct. Nicely done. Referring to both their hoods and them being misled. Nicely done. 2 on 2 for you there. And Kido, your first question. Holding the record for the longest migration for a bat, the Nathusius blank travels from Latvia to northeastern Spain for wintering. What genus name fills in the blank, which derives its name from the Italian for bat? 10 seconds. Three seconds. Need an answer, Kido. We'll have to pass you. Passing you. Shashwat.
Urcelago.
Not quite. Dinesh.
Us.
Manu.
Lamborghini.
No.
So, but
This-
11 didn't fit.
This is a pipistrelle. And Kido, your second. Bong Bong Marco's recent win was fueled by a decades-long misinformation campaign to revamp the family brand. The campaign portrayed his father's dictatorship as a blank of peace and prosperity, compared to the violent image Philippines has today. Fill in the blank with a term used to describe a period in history where a high degree of achievement is reached in a particular field, especially in art or literature.
Golden Age.
Golden Age is correct. Shashwat, your two questions coming up. Pixar's Onward takes place in a world inhabited by mythic creatures. What legendary Persian creature with the head of a human, the body of a lion, and a tail of a scorpion served as an inspiration for restaurant manager Corey? Ten seconds. Three seconds.
Wood.
No. Dinesh.
Us.
Kido. You'll have to pass you. I think I heard
I
so.
passed.
Yeah. Manu.
Pass.
Okay. This is Cory the manticore.
No, man. Didn't sound Persian.
And Shashwat, your second. The oil extracted from the flower spikes and occasionally leaves of which plant genus of the Lamiaceae family is used to manage stress and combat insomnia. Southern France, especially Provence, is famous for its sprawling fields of these plants. Ten seconds.
Lavender.
Lavender is correct. So that's 6 rounds down. Manu and Kido still fighting it out for the top. Still a long time to go. And Dinesh, your first question. Which 1989 film starring Sridevi as the titular character featured this white Bharatanatyam-inspired costume in a classical dance scene? Interestingly, the dress was copied by many stores at the Delhi thoroughfare with the same name.
Pass.
Passes to Kido.
Chandani.
Chandani is correct. So Bollywood god Kido gets that correct.
Hey,
Chandni Chowk being the thoroughfare being referenced there. And Dinesh, your second. In 2014, Danish Siddiqui visited a central Indian city for a photo series on the lives of certain people there. The poignant series was subtitled 30 Years On. This photograph was shot in the now abandoned pesticides plant of which company?
Union Carbide.
Union Carbide is correct. And Manu, your first. The Four Horsemen restaurant in Brooklyn, New York City specializes in serving natural wines. It is probably named due to the influence of the natural wine producer group called the Blanc Gang of Four, comprising Marcel Lapierre, Jean Foyard, Jean-Paul Thévenet, and Guy Breton. Which variety of widely consumed red wine does the Gang of Four produce? Ten seconds. Three seconds.
Chardonnay.
Not Chardonnay. Dinesh.
Pass.
Shashwat.
Pass.
Kido.
Cabernet.
Can you repeat that, Kido?
Cabernet. Cabernet.
Not Cabernet. This
And let
is
us.
Beaujolais. And Manu, your second. Which Swede won the 2013 FIFA Puskás Award for his propeller kick goal in a friendly versus England? He ended up scoring all of his team's goals in a 4-2 win.
Ibrahimovic.
That's correct. Zlatan Ibrahimovic is correct. And Kido, your first question. At 82 kg, this competitor was around 9 kg heavier than his nearest competitor at the 1988 Olympics. Moreover, his nearsightedness forced him to wear glasses under the goggles, which frequently fogged up and impaired his vision. Who is this who forced an eponymous rule by the International Olympic Committee?
Sulaimanoglu.
Sulaimanoglu. Dinesh.
Pass. Pass.
Shashwat.
Pass.
Manu?
Eddie the Eagle.
Eddie the Eagle is correct.
Nice.
So this was the Winter Olympics. So the rule being that post his participation, they have set in a rule that Olympians should place in the top 30% or the top 50 competitors for qualifying for the Olympics. You do your second. In 1997, which musician won her first Grammy for Best R&B Performance with the band The Fugees for the hip-hop cover of the song Killing Me Softly? She had her first starring role in Hollywood 4 years earlier as a rebellious school teenager when Mary Clarence got back in the habit. Ten seconds.
Smith.
Not Smith. Dinesh.
Pass.
Shashwat.
Hill.
Hill is correct. This is
Laurel.
Laurel Hill. The movie being Sister Act 2. And Shashwat, your first question. While it does not migrate as heavily as its antipodally named cousin, which bird inhabits southern South America, the Falkland Islands, Australia, and New Zealand? Breeding populations in the southern part of this species range are migratory during winters.
Antarctic tern.
Antarctic tern is correct. Your second question. The chapter Consolation for Inadequacy in the Consolations of Philosophy is written through the lens of which philosopher who popularized the essay on a literary genre through his magnum opus Essays? One of the most significant philosophers of the French Renaissance. His surname is a French corruption of the Latin word for a kind of geographic entity that is also represented in his coat of arms and which you see in the visual. Ten seconds. Three seconds.
Voltaire.
Oh, Voltaire. Dinesh.
Montaigne.
Montaigne is right. You can see a depiction of a mountain there. Mountain. So that brings us to the last round. Dinesh on 10, Shashwat on 11, Kiddo on 14, and Manu having a slight lead on 15. Last round, good luck all. Dinesh, first question for you. Blank Blank is a character from Justice Friends that casts incantations and hexes and a parody of Marvel's Scarlet Witch. What is the name of this superhero? Her name indicates she would probably not do well at an annual competition organized by the EW Scripts Company. Ten seconds. Three seconds.
Poor spell.
Can you repeat that?
Poor spell. Poorspell.
Right. Shashwat?
Misspell.
Misspell is correct. This is misspell. And Dinesh, your second. Dubner and Levitt analyzed discrimination in a public setting using data from which TV game show where players are eliminated through a voting system, concluding that Latinos and the elderly are discriminated against in the show. The show has or had licensed variants in 50 plus countries, although none of the variants ended with a trademark wink. We need an English name for points. 10 seconds.
Brother.
Sorry, did you say give an answer, Dinesh?
Yeah, I said Big Brother.
Not Big Brother. Manu? We'll have to pass you.
Pass.
Kiddo?
Ah.
Shashwat?
Weakest link.
Weakest link is correct. Another nice deal there. So we can see a representation of the links, and you can also see this one is called Lenki. And this is the famous link, the wink by Anne Robinson, which you always do at the end of an episode. And Manu, your first question. After seeing his young daughter struggle at a soda fountain parlor in San Francisco, what innovation did Joseph Friedman come up with by wrapping dental floss around an object to crimp it? Although now universally used by all, it was first used by immobile patients in hospitals in the mid 1940s. Ten seconds.
Straw.
Prompt.
The bent straw which goes into a cup.
Sorry, can you repeat what you said, Manu?
The benty straw, the bent straw which goes into a cup.
That is correct. We needed that particular bit. It is this flexible or bendy straw, which is what he came up with. Nicely done. And your second question. After their success at the Battle of Actium in 31 BC, the Romans began the practice of attaching the ramming end of captured ships to the front of a stone platform in the forum for speakers to address the people. What word for a raised platform, literally meaning beak, originated from here?
Rostrum.
This is rostrum. Kido, your first question. The oil extracted from the leaves of which genus, native to Australia, is used to alleviate conditions of nasal congestion and asthma. Although its leaves can be toxic in large quantities, several marsupial herbivores, notably koalas, are relatively tolerant of it.
Eucalyptus.
That is correct. And your last direct. Which 1980 film themed around reincarnation witnessed Simi Garewal in this black chiffon dress with a belt, styled by a bunch of celebrated designers? The dress was sourced from Parameshwar Godrej's Dancing Silks, one of the first Indian stores dedicated to Western outfits.
I said Kars.
Kars is correct. Did you get a musketeer on this by any chance?
No. Amrapali.
Okay, so two questions to go. So it is between Kido and Manu. But if Shashwat gets both, Manu goes through. Let's see what happens. Shashwat, you're first. In 2014, Danish Siddiqui visited Mumbai to photograph workers involved in a certain process that was centered around which entity that had then recently been moved from Kaf Parade to Darukhana. The entity, which was sold to IB Commercials Private Limited, was valued at approximately 60 crores. Ten seconds. Three seconds. Answer.
INS Vikrant.
INS Vikrant is correct. So last question. It has to pass to Kido, who's last on the passing order, I guess, and he has to get it. Let's see what happens. What two-word term was coined in the 1970s to describe Imelda Marcos's penchant for commissioning grandiose structures, often built in brutalist style? The term is a play on a famous Freudian psychoanalytic theory. 10 seconds. Three seconds. Need an answer, Shashwat.
Uh,
I'll have
Pass.
to pass you. Dinesh,
Pass.
Manu,
Shoedipus complex.
can you repeat that?
Shoedipus complex.
No. Kiddo,
Palace Mania.
no. So Manu had the right idea.
Oedipus.
Manu had the right idea. It is a pun on Oedipus complex. It's called the Edifice complex because of the grandiose structures that she built.
Mine was better.
It's very good.
Okay, great game. And
Sure,
Manu
guys.
wins
Congrats,
by
Manu.
just 1 point. Congrats, Manu.
Congrats, Manu.
And well played, everyone. You can see there were
Good
just
game, guys.
1, 4, 6, 7 X's in the entire game. So excellent play by everyone.
Nice play, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Vinid.
well
Great
done.
series, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Vinid.
No problem. Thank you, guys.